Maybe 2020 didn't suck, maybe it was you. What's up, everybody? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. In case anybody's wondering, Snoopy Bijou is currently having a Whimzees Alligators. Whimzees Alligators is the never-to-be sponsor of Unbothered by Ty Rivera, but we still give them a shout-out, and we still put our Amazon affiliates link down below. So check that out if you guys want to get Whimzees Alligators. Whimzees Alligators will not kill your dog, or they might kill your dog, but they haven't killed my dog in 7.5 years, so there's a good chance Whimzees Alligators will not kill your dog. Check out the Amazon link below. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. So anyway, I know some people are gonna be upset about even the title of this video, just because I'm saying maybe 2020 didn't suck, maybe it was you, and people are gonna have their, well, actually what happened was, and I don't wanna hear it, I don't care. If you're offended, go ahead and click off. If you're the type of person that's trying to grow, if you're the type of person that wants to do better, this is a good video for you. Because what I'm doing right now is I'm not using my regular sound that I usually use, which is with the Zoom recorder. So the sound won't be as good as it usually is, but I just wanted to get this done really quick, and I wanted to wish everybody a happy new year, a happy 2021. Good luck, good vibes going into the new year. Even though it may not sound like that's what my vibe is going to be on this video, it really is the intention of this video. It's the whole reason for this video. Because people want to blame 2020 for everything that's gone wrong in their lives. But people don't want to accept that certain things have become better in 2020. And I'm not trying to pretend that I haven't had problems in 2020. I've talked about my depression. I've talked about my issues with other comedians. I've talked about my loss of work. I've talked about the fact that I was supposed to record an album back in April, right before the shutdown started, and then I wasn't able to record my album. That was going to be able to get me some more money, so there was that. I'm banned off Facebook right now. Like, there's been a lot of things that have happened in 2020. Thankfully, everybody I know has been safe. My best friend had COVID at a point, and she ended up pulling through, so thank God for that. And that's the way I always see everything. See, I'm the kind of person that even though I may come across as being negative sometimes, I really am always looking for the silver lining in everything. And I think that more people need to do that. Like I mentioned, some people getting offended about this. Anytime you get offended, it's a good chance for you to look into yourself and say, why am I getting offended about that? Why do I take offense to that particular wording or phrasing? And that's something that I've done throughout my comedy career in order to make jokes. Because a lot of times, especially in the beginning, I would get upset about something and it would be like somebody saying something homophobic or the way somebody addressed me, something like that. And there were no blogs at the time, there was no place I could go with it, so I would put it into my act, I would make jokes out of it. And so I've always been a person who's been willing to look at things that even offend me and say, okay, well, where can I use my sense of humor in this? What other reaction can I have other than just being offended? Because being offended is very unproductive. Like, you might feel like you're doing something when you get a group of friends together and you decide to cancel somebody on the internet, but does that really do anything for you? Does it really make you feel good to make somebody lose their livelihood in a pandemic? Maybe for some of you it does, but for me, that would not be a source of joy at all. Like, when I talk about people, I talk about subjects, I talk about people that have pissed me off. Like, I recently did the video about Amy Blackwell, I did the video about Bobby and Crystal before that, and when I do those things, what people don't understand is, for me, at that point, it's just content. And my YouTube is monetized, so I'm making money off of telling the stories of the people that have gotten on my nerves in certain situations. And that's really what it boils down to, is just gotten on my nerves. I mentioned gigs getting canceled, and I'm always looking for the silver lining in that too. Like, when it comes to gigs getting canceled, there were a couple of gigs that I was supposed to do, but the main one that I was supposed to do was in Colorado Springs. That's coming up on January 8th. I'm supposed to be there. Well, at a point, that had been tentatively canceled because Colorado Springs had been shut down again. So, due to COVID regulations, Colorado Springs gets shut down. I'm not going to be able to work January 8th. Well, right before that, my friend Cindy, thank you, had hit me up and said that she wanted a couple of CDs when I had a chance to get CDs again, if I decided to get CDs again. At that point, I had already decided that I wasn't getting CDs anymore when Cindy made that request. But Cindy is a really good online friend. I haven't met Cindy in real life. She's very positive though. You'll always see her down in the comments. I love Cindy. Cindy has been very good as far as a presence in my life online, which we all know online can be filled with a bunch of negativity. But like I said, my brain doesn't really tune into that way. My brain notices that, but really what I look at is the more positive side. So Cindy has been a good presence. So since Cindy asked for a couple of CDs, I was like, okay, well then I'll just do another run of CDs. So the other run of CDs comes in just as I get the message that my gig in Colorado Springs has been canceled. So I say, okay, this sucks. So I need to get these CDs to Cindy. And then I'm like, wait a second. Why don't I just sell all of these CDs and make it, because, you know, usually with CDs, I take them on the road and then I just sell them bits and pieces here and there, you know, like I don't really put a lot of effort into selling CDs unless it was a new CD that I'm doing, then that would be something different. But this is the way that I usually do it with CDs. So since my gigs had been canceled, I decided, okay, then I'm just gonna push these CDs as hard as I can and try to sell all of them right away so that I make up for the money that I was supposed to make in Colorado Springs. That was the plan. Then I end up getting into that online argument with Bobby and Crystal. I end up getting reported for calling somebody a loser, and that really is all I said that I got banned off of Facebook for, was just the word loser. So that happens, and then I'm now banned off Facebook, and I was like, well, I was gonna sell these CDs by using my Facebook. I was gonna put up a Facebook post that said, these are the CDs I have. So since that happened, then there was a part of me that for a quick second was like, this is terrible. I don't know how I'm gonna sell my CDs now. But then I realized that my Facebook Messenger is still enabled, which when you get banned off of Facebook, you still have access to your instant messenger, unless you're really being abusive in your instant messenger, which I hadn't been, so there was no reason for me to get banned from instant messenger. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put that on my instant messenger. I'm gonna start sending out one-on-one messages to people. I put it on my fan page because I still have access to my fan page. That's another feature that you usually still have access to if you've been banned from Facebook for a little while. And so I put it on my Facebook fan page, and right away I got a couple people hitting me up saying that they wanted to get CDs. So okay, so I start doing that. So then, because I'm used to working on the computer and repetitive motion works really well for my brain. So I just start sending out message after message to as many people as possible. I decided to dedicate about 2 hours to it, at least 30 messages a day, sending them out to people, sometimes more, because I just got in a rhythm, and I was like, okay, let me just keep sending this out over and over and over. So I'm sending people a bunch of messages. As I'm sending out messages, I'm also getting messages back from people saying, yeah, I want a CD, I want to help you out, because I put in the CD, like in the message, gigs have been canceled, and so I'm just trying to make some money right now. If you guys can buy a CD, if you already have one, buy one for a friend, that kind of thing. And so I send these out, and then I get a bunch of positive energy back, like people either wishing me well or telling me that they want a CD or a couple of CDs, or in some cases people were like, just sell the CD to somebody else. If you have digital access, I can take that. And so, you know, like that's what a lot of people did. So I ended up making more money for staying at home and just selling my CDs the way I did. I sold them out in 3 nights. So if you do the math on that, I said I was spending about 2 hours a night doing this. So 6 hours worth of work. I ended up making more money doing that than I would have made on that gig. Now, did I make a bunch of money and now I can just relax and do nothing and take a vacation somewhere? No. But right now, if you know anything about the way a lot of the comedy clubs are working, is they're working at limited capacity. So they're not able to pay us what they used to pay us, especially if you're a guy like me that doesn't have a huge following. I'm not like a Joe Rogan. I'm not somebody like that. So I ended up making more money than I would have made if I had actually done that gig. So, like I said, this just came from having the positive mindset and being like, okay, I've got to change the plan. This is what I have to do to make this work. And then, like, sometimes I can even get joy from just seeing good things happen to my friends or people that I like my friend Cody Woods. He's been working on his YouTube more recently, and he hasn't been able to get a lot of traction, or hadn't been able to get a lot of traction. And then one of his videos got shared by Chocolate Sundays, which is the show, the urban show, the black show at the Laugh Factory. they ended up sharing one of Cody's videos. That video basically went viral, got a bunch of views in a very short amount of time. Cody ended up getting a bunch of followers. I want to say he was either under 1,000 or right around 1,000. I don't want to lie on Cody. Cody is my friend. He was either under 1,000 or right around 1,000 subscribers on YouTube when this happened. So they share the video of him. Then a bunch of people start watching the video. They want to know who he is. They start going to his personal YouTube and start subscribing to him there. Before you know it, now he's at like 7,000 followers, which is huge to go from like 1,000 to now being at 7,000. And also now he's been able to get monetized. I hit him up to get on him about that. I was like, Cody, this is what you got to do to monetize your YouTube. Make sure you get on these. These are the steps. This is what I did. And so I kind of walked him through that process a little bit, because we've been talking about YouTube here and there for the last, however long. I think it's been over a year or a year and a half that we've been talking about YouTube. And so, like, for me, I know a lot of people would feel like, well, why did that happen to him when I'm over here working this hard and doing this and that? Then it's like, for me, my brain doesn't even work that way. My brain works like, look, Cody went from 1,000 to 7,000 in that short amount of time. It was less than a month. It's probably been like 3 weeks now since that happened. And he's made a decent amount of money off of his YouTube now. And so the way I see it is, if that can happen for Cody, then it can definitely happen for me. And that's all about mindset. Do I ever feel like maybe somebody's getting something that I should be getting, or get a little bit bitter about seeing somebody get something that I don't think they necessarily deserve? But who am I to decide what people deserve and what people don't deserve? That's just not the way that I want to think. I'm not saying that sometimes I don't think that way, but it's not the way I want to think. So whenever I find myself even thinking that way, I instantly try to retrain my brain and just tell myself, that's not productive thinking. That's not helping you. And when I say that, I don't mean any of my friends, because I'm always wishing well on all of my friends. If anybody that knows me will tell you that that's the way my brain works when it comes to my friends. But sometimes you'll see some rando, some new person, some person that didn't do anything in stand-up or didn't do anything, and they just hit this luck. And they end up getting this thing that a lot of people think they don't deserve. And like I said, sometimes I can fall into that thinking, but just for a split second, and then I remind myself, that's not productive. What can I look at in what they're doing that might be able to be applied to what it is I'm doing and make me get further in what it is I'm trying to do? So this is the way I think about things, and this is a part of why I think that sometimes you can't blame like the year or the situation or COVID or any of the stuff that we, and I do mean we, all of us, want to blame. It does no good for us to blame these things. Instead, why don't we all start trying to look at what the silver lining could be, or what the lesson that we could actually learn could be? I've mentioned going to the gym. I've been going to the gym like I'm supposed to again. I'm 31 days sober. That came from me talking on YouTube about the fact that I wanted to take a break from smoking weed is the thing I do the most, and then sometimes I do psychedelics. And I wanted to take a break from all that stuff just because I wanted to let my body run naturally, and I felt like it was starting to slow me down in more than one way. I talked about it on a video, and then a friend of mine, again, an online friend, a person that I don't think I've met in real life, hit me up in the comments and said, hey, why don't you try 3 months instead of a year? A year probably sounds kind of daunting, and that might be setting yourself up for failure. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but this is what they basically told me. And then a couple other friends, including Cindy, agreed that maybe I should try 3 months. And I was like, okay, that's doable. Let me do 3 months. So now I'm 31 days in, and yeah, it was very rough at a point. There were points where I was getting my sleep schedule readjusted, and that was very discouraging because I was having real trouble getting my sleep schedule back to the way I wanted it. That was an actual thing I dealt with. It took me about 3 weeks to really get where I wasn't getting tired in the middle of the day, because I was able to go to sleep at night, which was one of the things I wanted. But then I wasn't able to stay awake past like 5 p.m. I'd get really tired. And so I started coming up with ways to keep myself awake, whether that be going to a friend's house or going out to a comedy show, or in some way keeping myself busy so that I could stay up and then be able to sleep all the way through the night and then be up the next day. And like I said, that took like 3 weeks, and that was very discouraging when I was going through that, because I felt like, why can't my brain just let me stay awake like I want to stay awake? Why can't everything just be perfect like that? And then I started thinking, well, you got what you wanted. You wanted to be sober, you're sober now. So there's one good thing. You wanted to sleep at night, you're able to sleep at night now. So there's two good things. So the thing you have to work on is staying awake or making it so that you don't get as tired like you are, or maybe your body just needs some time to adjust to that, and that's gonna happen naturally. So I just trusted the process. I kept doing what I was doing to keep myself awake, and now I feel fine when it gets to like 5 p.m. I'm still all right to stay awake, and the last couple of days I've been able to stay awake like a regular person. I've been waking up a little bit later, but that's just because I've been staying up later doing nothing really. I don't know what I've been wasting time on, but I really have been doing nothing during those late hours that I've been up, because I've been up till like 2 or 3, and then I'll sleep till like 11 or noon at the latest, which was kind of ideal for me, or is kind of ideal for me. Some days it's 9 a.m. that I wake up, and I love when that happens because then I can go to the gym, I do my cardio, I do stuff the way that I have to. I'm able to walk Bijou when the sun's still out. I'm able to get a little sun while I'm walking Bijou. I don't feel like I'm losing out on the entire day, which is the way that I felt when I was sleeping until 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Sometimes it was 4 or 5 in the afternoon, or even 6 in the evening. And when you wake up and it's still dark, then it just depresses you. People have talked about that before. The lack of sun will depress you. I'm a person that has to deal with that when I don't get sun. So everything has gotten to the point where I want it to be when it comes to my sleep schedule and the way my body's working. And I like being more alert. I like not being high all the time. I like not being worried about, tripping and then the next day having to deal with that tiredness that you deal with. And I'm not saying I'll never do that stuff again, because there's a good chance that I will after my 3 months is over. Maybe I'll take another couple of months of sobriety and then I'll decide that I want to do something. But for now, I feel like let's cross that bridge when we get to it. For right now, everything is good, and I'm able to do things the way that I wanted to. And I told you guys about Colorado Springs getting canceled. Well, I kept a good attitude, and I just assumed that that was going to be canceled. Since it was tentatively canceled, it was just going to stay canceled. And then today, I ended up getting a message telling me that they've decided to reopen Colorado Springs. So if I'm still open to doing the gig in Colorado Springs, I can still have that weekend. So now I'm going to go do that gig in Colorado Springs, and I'm going to get to make that money too. And I'm also, which is more important, going to get to actually do stand-up, which is what I love doing. Like, I do love that part of my life. I love performing. And here's another thing, kind of cherry on top little thing. I ended up getting a flight round trip for under $50 to Colorado Springs. So I'm not having to drive there. I'm not having to drive back. I had a different feature planned, but we decided to go with local talent because it just makes things easier. And also, I don't mind putting on some of the local guys or one of the local guys to be able to get that money, get that spot. Who knows what they're going through. And the guy I was going to take, Joe Pedotto, I like him very much. But, I think he's doing all right to the point where he wasn't really doing this gig for the money. He was doing it more for the experience. And I can eventually get him that experience later on. So we try to make things as easy as they can be on everybody involved in the situation. And this is what's going on, and this is where things are at. And I just feel really good about everything. And so when we go into the new year, well, now we're already a day or the first day of the new year. I'm very happy about going in the new year. And I'm very optimistic about the way things are going in the new year, or gonna go in the new year. But I don't feel like that's something that's going to happen because it's now 2021 and at the stroke of midnight something magical happened last night. I don't feel like that at all. I feel like things are going to go great, and I feel like things are going to go the way that I want them to because I've already put that into practice and I've been doing everything the way that I want to do it. And so, yeah, it's not always easy, but you can make yourself do it. You can make it happen. Just have a little faith and stop trying to look at the negative in everything. That would be my advice for everybody in 2021. So like I said, I wish you guys all a happy new year. I'm sorry if the audio isn't the best on this video, but I'm trying my best to project and maybe make it so it's a little bit better. But I also felt like maybe I could offer a little positivity, since people sometimes make the mistake of thinking that I'm a very negative person. Yes, my act is full of negative things, but to me, they're just funny ways of looking at negative things. And sometimes people come away from my act and they're like, well, he's really angry. No, that's my job, is to tap into those emotions I had when I wrote that joke and do it with that same frustration so it's as funny as it needs to be for you. But by the time you've heard almost any joke I tell, it's no longer like something that makes me angry. It's just content. It's just something to talk about in my act, and it's just something that I know a lot of people relate to. And if there's anything we can all bond on, it's anger and then laughter afterwards. Because most of us, even if we don't realize we're doing it, even if we're not doing it on a conscious level, we do laugh at the ridiculousness. Otherwise, we'd all be horrible people all the time, and who wants to be that? So, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of, it isn't even an Unbothered. This is just a short little video blog for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. This has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.